getting us ready for this, the production crews, everybody, the volunteers. It's all fantastic. As you see, the Wolves will get it first. Remember, no throw-ins, no offside, so it's 7v7 wide open. And I think that's where Villita has a little bit of advantage because they know the 7v7 system really, really well. And we are underway, making history here in Cary, North Carolina. The Wolves FC and Villita FC. Villita, again, means a little village, and that is exactly what this team wants to represent. Made up of a lot of members of the San Diego Sockers team and a lot of internationals as well. The Wolves in gold. You wonder if there's any nerves at all. Like I said, Villita's been together so long. Even playing a team like the Wolves, you got to believe that there are limited nerves for them. And then the Wolves with some legends out there. In fact, you just saw one of them, Bakari Sacco, who Mali International, Crystal Palace, big-time name. And I mentioned Darius Vassell out, tore his Achilles yesterday. Unfortunate, but that is going to be part of it. Some of these players haven't played in a little while, and it's a mixture of players that are just retired and coming back, as this one will go out of bounds. And it's going to be a corner kick for Villita. We're just 1 minute in, 2 20-minute halves. At the referee's discretion, there is extra time, but the clock keeps running. Keep an eye on the bottom of the screen as we'll have the games going on. There's 32 teams here, and you see right there, Group D, Far East United taking on West Ham United. West Ham has been to Wake Med Soccer Park before. They played the pro team here, North Carolina FC, a few years ago, as the first corner kick goes missing for the Wolves. Remember, you got to get used to a much smaller field for these legendary players. And as you see, no throw-ins. Everything will essentially could serve as ostensibly a corner kick from anywhere on the field. One thing I can tell you is you cannot score off a goal kick or off of what is considered a throw-in, but in this case, checked in with the feet. Good ball back in. Same rules apply for playing it back to the goalkeeper as 11v11. You all know those rules. And here comes Villita. Villita trying to be dangerous. They had it inside for a second, as that was Leo de Oliveira, who is one of these stars. Again, a lot of these players part of the San Diego Sockers. Games will be flying all day long today, all day long tomorrow. Later tomorrow, it gets into the knockout round as the top 2 teams from all 8 groups will advance to the knockout round, and then it's win or go home. And if you win it all, if you score that goal for your team in the championship game on Sunday, you win $1 million. This one taken away by the Wolves out of the back. Game's actually started on the main field at Wake Med Soccer Park. Inside, first dangerous chance as they tried to feed inside number 8, Zach Rejet, who is a U.S. national indoor player, played on the U.S. men's futsal team with their 7v7 squad as well. If I reference throw-in, again, there's no throw-ins, but it simply went out of bounds and they're kicking it in. That'll be the cross-reference for you at home. On the ball right there a moment ago was Scott Goulbourne, a defender, a longtime Wolves left back. Good to see him back in the Wolves uniform. The Wolves have been a member of the EPL, one of the top domestic leagues in the world, for a long, long time. This club has a rich history in their 146 years of existence. Now, let me repeat that. 146 years of existence, having been crowned champions of the Premier League 3 times in the 1950s. They've also won the FA Cup on 4 separate occasions. And the Wolves TST team will be rocking the old gold kit in Cary, North Carolina, as they look to bring the $1 million prize back. Villita, they play a lot of games in 7v7, so this is not new to them, this TST system. The target finish is new. The fact that you finish on a goal is just incredible. Great save right there by the Wolves. Huge save coming up for the goalkeeper. Harry Burgoyne for the Wolves. And Jair Garcia. I believe it's Garcia that got the start. We'll confirm that in a moment as I'll read you the starting lineups. Good work by Villita inside and around the goal box, but taken away by the Wolves. It's going to go out of bounds for a goal kick. All right, so the starting lineups for Villita: Boris Padro in goal, Mitchell Cardenas, Walter Iovi, Felipe Gonzalez, Leo Oliveira, Marlon Marino, and Craig Chiles. We'll have more on the subs. The subs can pretty much interchange. They just have to cross the line, and it'll feel like a hockey change for the subs. The Wolves starting is Harry Burgoyne. I had that right. Scott Goulburn, Richard Stearman, another legend, Prince Onyeg, Adeline Gadera, Bakari Sacco, another legend, and we already talked about Leon Clark. Those were the starters for both teams, and now you're up to speed here 6 minutes in, as I don't believe we've seen a sub yet, but we will start to see him. 2 20-minute halves. Good little give and go by Villita. You'll be able to see the chemistry that this team has. It comes all the way through. It's right in front. And the first goal is scored for Villita. That's Christian Gutierrez. And Christian Gutierrez has made it 1-0. Villita on top of the Wolves. And there's Gutierrez wearing number 4 as he gets it by Burgoyne, Harry Burgoyne. And it's 1-0. I'm telling you, this Villita team is really, really good. Another player that they have is David Ibrahim Kadic, who won a lot of games at Lindsey Wilson, and really young player, a straight baller as described by the members of the Villita team. And they have a 1-0 lead. A little bit too deep, as that was for one of the legends, Sacco. Crystal Palace, he's a Mali international, did spend some time with the Wolves. Brilliant man, actually spent some time with him before this game. The coaches for the Wolves are Kevin Foley, an Ireland international, and Ryan Darren, a senior academy coach for the Wolves. If you Google Kevin Foley, and some of you will know them, particularly that follow the game overseas, and a lot of you do, you'll know exactly who I'm talking about. Villita try to switch it, a little bit too ambitious, and it'll roll out of bounds. The story of the game so far, though, is Villita, as they score early in this game. Christian Gutierrez kind of knocking on the door. Ball got through right on the far post, and it turned out to be a tap-in, and that's where we stand right now, 1-0. We'll have 4 games back-to-back for you right here on Field 3, as this is played all the way back. Ring number 80 is Walter Iovi, Ecuador, 128 appearances, 2 World Cups for number 80, big-time experience. This could be a shot, and it's denied there by Burgoyne, and now Burgoyne has it. Good save by Burgoyne as he keeps it just 1-0. Harry Burgoyne played for the Wolves, Corby Town, Shrewsbury Town. He's played for multiple clubs over in England. Darren Ryan, the longtime academy coach, also played for multiple teams in England, double-digit teams. So now on the ball for the Wolves. Again, it's a mixture of young and old in this game, which I think makes it fascinating, as Stephen Hunt, Ireland international and a true legend, is out there wearing number 23. Great to see him. Actually, sorry to report the news on Darius. Heartbreaking, really. The event is ostensibly sold out. There's only about 400 tickets left for the morning sessions, and then into the afternoon, the rest of the games are sold out. Capacity just under 5,000 for the entire event, and what a great way to start it. It was good to tell the story of how two former soccer players, along with Aleko Eskandarian and Mike Volk and Henry Tembon, made this happen by reaching out to the leaders. John Mugar, good to meet him before the game, and then yesterday spent some time with Dan Friel, wonderful gentleman, as this one will go out of bounds. And again, this is built around the basketball tournament, TBT. So for those of you who are watching that maybe aren't basketball fans, that has been hugely successful and changed lives. I mean, you win $1 million and you win it right there on the spot. You walk out of here with the $1 million, and it changes lives. There's so many stories surrounding that, and they shared a lot of that on the build-up, which just makes this uber exciting, I think, in every possible way. We're sitting at 1-0. You'll hear me reference multiple times target scoring, so after the 40 minutes, no matter the score, there still has to be at least one more goal scored, and or the losing team can go past the team that's winning. If the target is, again, 7, the best way to explain it, if it's 6-4, the target would be 7, and whoever gets the 7 first wins the game. So the 40 minutes when it's over does not declare the winner, as Sacco sends it over. And it's picked up by Villita. Boris Pardo, he is part of the U.S. 7v7, where he's got an international cap for the USA 7v7 team. And good hustle there by Stephen Hunt, a player familiar to a lot of you, but especially to Ireland fans. Great to see him out here giving it a run. The 5 players that were recognized in either Phoenix or Chicago are Jair Garcia, Gabriel Gonzalez, Cesar Ochoa, Philly Villaputa, and Miles Wolder. So they were talking about having one make it to this game, and eventually they want to have at least one make the Wolves team. But keep an eye on that Golden Chance documentary, because you'll be able to see the process of them coming over to the States, leading them here to TST, and they ended up picking 5 of those players. So all 5 of those players have an incredible opportunity, albeit in a 7v7 situation, to truly show the Wolves what they can do, get involved in their academy, and who knows, their lives could be changed by this experience. I think large in part to the involvement in TST, the social media that's around it. Here's a good opportunity, and sails over the crossbar. Job well done there, as the shot coming from number 15, Luis Morales, who was the MASL Rookie of the Year. So a bright young player. The San Diego Sockers, it seems like they've been winning indoor in some variety. The letters have changed a little bit. Here's another shot, and knocked away by Burgoyne. Burgoyne has made a couple big saves after giving up one early, as that shot coming from Jorge Rios, the man we started the show with. He was named the MASL Finals MVP, giving the Sockers the title. Good little back heel to get it back to the aforementioned Rios, and this one is going to go out of bounds. It'll be a goal kick back to the Wolves. 1-0 Villita. I'll say it again, Villita means a little village, and that is exactly what this team wants to represent. Villita FC will be about representing small communities and providing an opportunity to those that might not often get one. Their team will consist of pros, ex-pros, college players, and street-level players. This squad started out playing in Sunday leagues and enrolling in small tournaments, but once they realized the success they were having, they wanted to step it up a notch and enter the winner-take-all $1 million tournament. That's a tad bit undersold when you know that the core of this team won the 2019 7v7 World Cup in Australia. And that might have been part of the game plan, but all you had to do was go to practice and watch them a little bit. You know they're special. Speaking of special, good little opportunity there by the Wolves inside of the goal box, but not on frame. want to thank Ally, as this soccer tournament is brought to you by Ally, proud ally of TST. Do it right. And let me tell you, folks, TST has done it right. The excitement level, the celebrities that are involved, the fact that the U.S. women's team, led by Heather O'Reilly, will be coached on the sideline by Mia Hamm and Michelle Akers and Heather Mitz and Bill Palladino. That's really cool. They'll be playing a team mostly made up of a collection of small black college institutions. Great story, primarily out of Greensboro, but they recruited from all over the country. There's so many great stories we'll get into throughout the day, as I'll be with you here. 4 games on field 3 and 4 games on field 4. Counting up to the 20 minutes. Just one lonely goal so far. It'll be played back to Burgoyne. They tried to connect with Clark, the player we highlighted off the top. And here comes one of the veterans and the captain for Villita, as that is played over by Craig Chiles. Shot from distance and just missing there. And you can see raising his arm is Adeline Gadora, Algeria, has represented Algeria for a long time and played in the EPL for a long time, another big-time name. Truly incredible to see some of these legends come back, including Stephen Hunt. As you saw now, Gray, but Crystal Palace, Reading, Ireland national team. A lot of international experience on display. For the Wolves that time, it's Jack Hodnett. As Jack Hodnett creates this kick-in. Alternative to the throw-in, and that'll be knocked out for a corner kick for the Wolves as they look for the equalizer here in the first half. Corner kick coming. Shot from distance, still loose, trying to turn on it. The Wolves keep it alive. Villita defend in numbers, and it's taken away cleanly there by number 7, Leo de Oliveira. This will sail over to the far side and find Zach Regat.
Coming up shortly, on field 5 will be Newtown Pride FC taking on Kingdom FC. Kickoff approximately 9:45 a.m.
As I mentioned earlier, great to talk to both of the coaches, Kevin Foley of international fame, Ireland international fame, and then Ryan Darren. Here come the Wolves, trying to make something happen as they try to tie it up. Prince Onyang, another big name for the Wolves, had it for a moment, but taken away by this very feisty Villita team, who I think could be a sleeper to win it all. I mean, they got to win this game first, but they're really good. You can see it right there. They're definitely not intimidated by playing this legendary club, and the Wolves squared across, and a good idea. Nobody home, and that'll allow the Wolves to go the other way. The Wolves on the counter quickly. And on the counter, still loose and tied up. A brilliant job by the Wolves, and a little bit of celebration as the Wolves get it done. And it's Leon Clark. We picked him to open the game, knowing what it would mean when Darius went down, and Leon Clark needed to carry the load, and Leon Clark has tied it at 1 as we've got about a minute and a half in the first 20 minutes. So far, so good on the players we picked to highlight off the top. As it's tied on in 1. You can see right there, like, people were wondering, like, smaller field, are they going to be gassed? You can see a lot of players breathing heavy here. They've got 3 games in group play, and then top 2 teams from all 8 groups will advance to the knockout round. Again, all chasing $1 million cash. So Leon Clark played for the Wolves, Sheffield Wednesday, QPR, Shelton Athletic, Coventry City, Shrewsbury Town, the Bristol Rovers, multiple clubs. And he makes it 1-1. So off that equalizer, final seconds counting down here in the first half. There are no ties in the TST, so you don't need to be worrying about 1 point World Cup style. They will play for the win, and every game will end on a winning goal. I cannot say that enough about the excitement of this tournament. And as they progress through and the crowds start getting bigger and bigger and they move over to the main stadium fields Saturday and Sunday, you need to stay in line either, for these early games on YouTube, but as we move into Saturday and Sunday on Peacock. The Wolves get a late goal in the first half from Leon Clark to tie it, as they answered the goal from Christian Gutierrez. And here come the Wolves again, and there's Hunt back in there, as we talked about his amazing career earlier. Crystal Palace, Brentford, Reading, Hull City, the Wolves, Ipswich Town, Coventry City, and the Ireland national team. Oh, what a cracker. What a smoker of a goal. That'll be one of the great goals of this tournament by Gonzalez, and he absolutely smoked that in. He goes by Charlie, Juan Carlos Gonzalez, known as Charlie, and that's how the first half will end. It'll be 2-1, I believe. I'll confirm with our graphics man that I think that was the first half whistle. Wow, what a goal. These early round games, for those of you at home, just a couple cameras, so we don't have the ability to give you a replay. If there was ever a goal that we'd love to show you again, it would be that one. But as we move on to the day, you will see it. And how about this? We've got scores. Look at the Indiana Hoosiers with a 3-0 lead over Borussia Dortmund. The Hoosier Army, I'm proud to say, was actually at my house last night for their pregame meal, having worked at the Big Ten Network for a long time, and they've got a 3-0 lead. You see Blade and Grass there with the DMB Diplomats, both those teams led by former U.S. internationals, and no score Kingdom FC and Newton Pride FC. It is halftime here with Villita with a smoker of a goal right in the final seconds by Juan Carlos Gonzalez, who goes by Charlie. It's 2-1. We're going to step aside for a couple of minutes and be back for the second half. The TST is underway in Cary, North Carolina, WakeMed Soccer Park, and we're so glad you're with us.
Vegeta FC goal scored by Juan Carlos Gonzalez in the 20th minute. That game halftime, your score: Vegeta FC 2, Wolverhampton Wanderers FC 1. fans on field 4. The match between the DMV Diplomats and Blade and Grass FC in the first half, we are 0-0. And don't forget, coming up shortly over on field 5, Newtown Pride FC will be taking on Kingdom FC. Kickoff at approximately 9:45 a.m. And fans, if you're just joining us, welcome to the group stage action of the Soccer Tournament 2023 right here at WakeMed Soccer Park in Cary, North Carolina. This is a 32-team event with the top 2 teams from each group advancing on to our 16-team knockout tournament. Each of today's teams finds itself just 7 wins away from $1 million.
Welcome back to Field 3 as part of our coverage of the TST. They were out and ready to go as we actually thought there was about 3 more minutes to go, so perhaps they now got the word on that as both teams may huddle up one more time before we start the second half. But we're going to be ready for you no matter what happens. This will be very fluid out here, but very exciting, truly revolutionary what TST has done, taking the success from TBT Enterprises. Let me tell you a little bit about TBT as we wait for a couple minutes. TBT Enterprises is an independent voice in the sports world that challenges the status quo by putting high-stakes competition first. TSC represents its first non-basketball event. It'll feature teams representing any number of groups, from professional clubs to celebrity-backed squads to charities to college alumni sides to supporter groups. Any team may apply. 32 teams are here, including the teams in Group B. Blade and Grass FC, led by Jeff Cameron, legendary name for the USA, played in the World Cup. DMB Diplomats, led by AJ De La Garza and Lee Wynn, 2 outstanding players. AJ De La Garza just retired, so he's still in great form. This club here, Villita FC, about a small village, although it's a powerful village, and I'm not surprised they're leading 2-1 based on their success and how long they've been together, and the fact that a lot of these players are part of the uber successful San Diego Soccer team out of the MASL. And then, of course, one of the most legendary clubs you'll find, the Wolves. Wolverhampton Wanderers FC, but everybody knows them as the Wolves. A member of the English Premier League and one of the top domestic leagues in the world. 146 years they've been around. You may have heard me mention that in the first half. A first half that saw goals for Villita early on from Gutierrez, and then a Big Daddy with a drive goal from Charlie Gonzalez in the final seconds of the first half. Charlie Gonzalez with a smoker goal. There he is. Absolutely. That's not him, actually, but number 21 absolutely smoked it. And we came on the air for the Wolves telling you about the loss of Darius Vassell, which is one of the big names that is here. But we knew that Leon Clark was going to have to play a big role, and Leon Clark at one point did tie it. So that's where we stand. Those are your goal scorers, and it's 2-1. Villita in the light blue, in dark blue, in the gold, the Wolves. Over the ball for Villita. The Wolves had the ball to start the first half, so the second half, Villita will get it. Standard fare in soccer. And this is the USA national indoor player, Zach Regat. And he'll get things started. Villita with the 2-1 lead. Target scoring, though, as we start to wrap up this second half will start to remind you that, again, when the second half ends, it's not over, folks. They'll set the target score one goal higher than the team that is leading, and that's what they'll play for. So every game will end on a goal. Every single game. I just cannot say that enough. Having been involved in soccer for a long time, since the late 80s with the U.S. national team, the women's team in 91, the Olympic team in 92, the 94 World Cup team. This is truly revolutionary in an era where we see soccer reach whole new levels in the United States. For the founders of TBT Enterprises to come together and make the TST happen, we hope that we can do this each and every year and build more and more excitement. Yesterday, it was just buzzing around here with the media day, the social media team doing a great job for TST. Here's a shot from distance, deflected out by the Wolves, kept alive, and finished by Villita. And Villita is here on a business trip, folks. They mean business. I feel like we told you that coming in. And there is the U.S. national indoor and U.S. men's football star, Zach Reget, getting it going as it's 3-1. Trinity International Trojans from 2013 to 16 played with the St. Louis Ambush, the Florida Tropics, Harrisburg Heat, the Kansas City Comets. He is an indoor specialist, and as you know, the indoor field is smaller than the 11v11, and so his game really fits well with the 7v7, and what a player to have as he makes it 3-1. One bounce. Staying into the game as the goalie for the Wolves is Harry Burgoyne. You cannot score on a goal kick, worth mentioning again. This one will go out of bounds. It'll be a kick in for the Wolves. Good look right there at Adeline Guedera, a veteran with the Algeria national team and veteran in the EPL. Big time talent. Villita, just so composed. I mean, they're immediately in their offense, nice and clean, trying to earn a corner kick, and they will. The corner kick earned right there by Leo de Oliveira. Phil Salvaggio is the head coach. He's also the head coach of the San Diego Sockers and the U.S. 7v7 team. So, again, this little village that kind of tries to say it in a way like, yeah, we're just here with a bunch of small-town folk. I mean, these guys know what they're doing. And early on, as we were preparing for this game, they were dubbed a team that could win the $1 million. So keep an eye on this team. They have a 3-1 lead over the Wolves here. Group B play. Again, they're in this group with Blade and Grass FC, led by Jeff Cameron, and DMV Diplomats, led by AJ De La Garza and Lee Wynn. A little bit of pressure there, and a foul called. As coming in a little bit too hard was David Ibrahim Kadic, who big-time talent at Lindsey Wilson, which is a strong lower division college, might even be NAIA, a big-time program out of Kentucky. Hoosier Army with a 4-1 lead over Dortmund. Dortmund, one of the massive names in this tournament, but Indiana, who they have a little bit of heartburn coming back to Wake Med Soccer Park, where they've lost 2 national championship games at Wake Med Soccer Park. The COVID year to Marshall, and then last year to Syracuse. They, of course, have won 8 national championships as a team. You see Blade and Grass FC and DMV Diplomats. Those 2 teams know each other really well. And Kingdom FC has a 1-0 lead over down Pride FC. Back to Burgoyne. Reminding you about the target score. If it ended right now, the target would be 4. So after the 40 minutes are played, the first team to score 4, they win. And they pick up the all-important 3 points. It's 3 or nothing. Played in, turned, and side netting, wrong side, as Burgoyne had the near post covered anyway. The buzz around the triangle here in North Carolina has been flying, and I feel like, for those of you tuning in, the buzz across the country and perhaps even around the world because of so many international teams here has also been electric. It's a really cool event and a great place to do it. Wake-Med Soccer Park. Wake-Med Soccer Park, for those of you that are just tuning in for the first time, had actually been the last stop for several U.S. World Cup teams, including the 98 team, or rather the 2002 team with Bruce Arena that was, really a missed handball away from making the semifinals. As several World Cup teams, Bruce Arena particularly loved coming here to Wake-Med Soccer Park as their final stop before heading over to the World Cup. Just to give you an idea of how legit Wake-Med Soccer Park is, and they're very much in the conversation Kerry is for becoming a new sort of permanent training base for U.S. soccer. That's very real and very legit. So the leaders of TBT and now TST, smart people, they knew what they were doing when they picked this place. It was 2-1 at half, and Villita and thumbs up there for Villita was Edgar Gonzalez for Monterrey, who goes by Edgar Torres. And now the Wolves with a bigger hill to climb, defended well, and it's 4-1. Villita FC on top.
Checking in on field 3, a goal for Villita FC. Scored by Cesar Cerda in the 28th minute. In that match, it is Villita FC 4, Wolverhampton Wanderers FC 1.
So it's 4-1. Played across. This is a really good ball. Near post, denied. And now the shield and a foul. So the other rule is you can't really mess about. They kind of have a 5-second rule to get everything restarted, as this looks like one of the Golden Chance documentary members on the field. We'll confirm that, as indeed it is. It's Philly Villapadua, who is one of 5 Americans, we think American, at least it was held in Phoenix and Chicago, as part of this Golden Chance documentary where the Wolves came over. They're filming it. They're picking players to eventually make their way over to the Wolves and perhaps through the academy or part of the system, and perhaps even making the first team, which would be, you talk about a life changer, let alone the $1 million that's on the line. I think the Wolves have done it right, adding an extra layer to this TST experience where they came over, they've got the documentary, and then 5 of those players make their way here. It's 4-1 though, as this little village is powerful. Villita FC, Hoosier Army rolling over Dortmund 4-1. Still tied, Blade and Grass and the Diplomats. Kingdom FC with a 1-0 lead. Played back. And here comes Villita. Look at the movement, couple step overs. If you watch the indoor game at all, you will recognize the flow of this Villita team. I picked up on that right away watching them at practice yesterday, as David Ibrahim Kadic has been really good. This is Walter Ayove, Ecuador. Couple World Cups, I believe, 128 appearances. So not exactly a small village as far as his amazing career as well. Spent time with Barcelona, double times at Monterrey, played with Pachuca. And this one is going to go out of bounds. And right now the body language kind of telling you the scoreline out there, as they are humans after all. The Wolves find themselves down 3, but more importantly, they find themselves kind of chasing the game a little bit. They're never out, though, because of the target score that we've talked a lot about. When this 40 minutes is over, they'll set the target. For instance, if it ended right now, the target would be 5. First one to 5 wins. Good little turn by Villita. Extra little pass, tucked back in. Fantastic footwork. And the Wolves just have to send it long. And the problem with that is they don't have the ball, and they're down 3. So right now, it is all Villita FC. Phil Salvaggio, the head coach. Joel Rodriguez, part of the content crew. Paul Savage, assistant coach. As Villita may not be done here. Good little extra effort last second there by the Wolves, and knocked away by number 14, another one of the Golden Chance documentary players, as that is Villa Padua. And the Wolves take it back again. The Wolves got to get busy here, as what they want to try to do is cut into the lead before we designate the target score. Keep an eye on the bottom of the screen all day long for the games that are going on in the other groups. 8 groups, 32 teams with 16 advancing. And this will go quickly. They will play 2 of their first round games today, as that is handled there by Villita. They'll play 1 tomorrow, and then later on Friday they'll begin the knockout rounds leading into Saturday, and then the fun day, the Sunday final, which is a fun day as we're 35 minutes in. Look at this management right here. It's a small field, and yet they're making the Wolves chase. A little bit of death by possession for Villita. Villita squares it across. Good ball. Wide open. Not sure why he didn't first time it. Well, now I know why. He wanted it on his right foot, and it is absolutely hammered home right there by number 31, Mitchell Cardenas, as Mitchell Cardenas makes it 5-1. And the little village that could, and we knew would, is making it happen. It's 5-1. And Philip Salvaggio's team is absolutely a wrecking crew, and I think well-billed as the team that can make a deep run in this, and they are certainly showing it right now, as they now have a 5-1 lead, as Mitchell Cardenas with the finish.
The score, Villita FC 5, Wolverhampton 1.
Cardenas, who is familiar with the area, played at Campbell, which is not too far from Wakemed Soccer Park. In fact, Campbell at times has served as the host city when the College Cup for men or women have played here. NC State's done it, so has Carolina. He played with Sporting KC. He's played with Pumas, and now, of course, part of the San Diego Sockers. As you saw right there, Edgar Torres listed as Edgar Gonzalez, but goes by Torres. And Villita looking to add to their 5-1 lead. We saw the Hoosier Army on top of Dortmund 4-1. So the international teams, again, mixed with some legends and some young academy players, some players maybe that haven't played a little while, finding it's not that easy when you go against a team that knows how to play 7v7. It's a, you know, Captain Obvious here, it's a different game. And Villita have been a touch of class here. There's Pino. And Pino will get it back. And if they're going to get limited pressure, they'll use their goalie. Remember, there's no offside, so the full field is in effect. So they can use their goalie. The goalie, obviously, just like in 11v11, can't pick it up. But if you got a goalie that's got good feet, you want to try to kill off a game, just keep making passes. So this is 6-7 passes strung together for Villita as they look to add to it. Cross perfectly in front. Almost looked like a handball right there. And Burgoyne will scoop it up. Clark, the goal scorer, came back in defensive support. And they needed it as it's been all Villita. 2-1 after the half. They've scored 3 more goals in the second half, and it's 5-1. Drop back over, and miss-hit that time by the Ecuador international. "38 minutes. Reminding you that after the 40, the target score will be put up. It'll just be +1 to the team that's leading. The Wolves trying to pull one back, which is important, and they'll do it. They will do it. And that is well played by the Wolves. Good job keeping the ball right down the middle, the drop off and the finish, and it's 5-2 as the Wolves pull one back. That's important because they're not out of it. And if they can get one more and make it 5-3, then they would need to score 3 goals as part of the target score to win it. And certainly would be doable, particularly if they had the 3. They know they could do it. A little bit of pressure here. Cardenas, who has scored, wanted to get it back on his right foot, and when he did, he absolutely hammered it past Burgoyne. Kept alive by Villita. Good idea to try to square it, but defended well there by the Wolves. They were looking for Jorge Rios, the MASL Finals MVP. Good switch coming from the Wolves as that was sent across by Zeli Ishmael. Ishmael, longtime player with the Wolves. He's been a part of almost 10 different clubs in his career. Villita stays with it. Trying to add one more late and just missing. Give all the credit right there to Leo de Oliveira for drawing players over, pulling Burgoyne out. The goal was open, but the shot missing wide. All right, so those are the 40 minutes. So the target score will be 6. Pretty simple. So they'll have a little break here, and then they'll set the target score at 6. And the first team to 6 will get the win. There it is. The target score, 6. With Villita FC, which stands for Little Village, but as I've mentioned several times, this village has been together a long time. The core of this team winning the 2019 7v7 World Cup in Australia. You see the target score graphic, 6 points under the scoreboard, and target scored set. The leading team score +1. First to the target score wins, and they'll go in 5-minute increments. And why is that important? Well, after 5 minutes, if we don't have a winner, they'll take off a player. Another 5 minutes, they'll take off another player, and it could end up being down to just 1v1 with the open goal, which could be fascinating. I can't imagine it ever getting to that, but the fact that it is a possibility is exciting to talk about. it's just exciting to be here, folks, for the TST, making history here at WakeMed Soccer Park in Cary, North Carolina.
Fans, that game will have a target score of 6.
5 fields in action.
The first team that gets
And they've got the coin flip here.
on field 3, and a player will be removed for
Target score in mind.
5 minutes.
All right, so now it's a matter of the Wolves kind of resetting and saying, look, basically, we need to tighten up our D a little bit. And if we can get one, just one at a time, let's see what we can do here. They need to score 4 to win. Villita FC needs just 1.
SFC, we are tied at 2 apiece.
We talked about the referees a little bit ago, but I'll remind you who we have here as Michael Laverne and Leland Grant. And Leland Grant in the far side. That's Michael Laverne, the man running the show. You see the light blue and dark blue of Villita. 2-1 at the half. 3-1 in the second half, making it 5-2 and making the target score 6. And here we go. The Wolves, Leon Clark, who's got one of the goals. Again, no Darius Vassell, who was injured yesterday. Everybody was super excited to see that legendary player. You see Group F down there, Conrad and Beasley, Jimmy Conrad, DeMarcus Beasley. 2 of the legends. Several teams led. At one point we thought Landon Donovan was going to be here, but a late scratch. A couple little touches, and there you go. So with the target score, that's how you get it done. You win the coin toss, and you say, let's go. And the Wolves pull one back right there by Jack Hodnett, number 28. So Jack Hodnett coming up big for the Wolves, as Hodnett keeps him alive, as Hodnett has only been a part of the Wolves and comes up with a key play right off the start here of the target time with the target score at 6. It's 5-3. And a little bit of collision there. 2 players down. They're going to play on right now as they'll keep an eye on. No, knock it out of bounds, so fair play as they check on the 2 injured players. So the standard fair play of any kind of soccer is in play here
Checking in on
as part of the
field 3,
TST.
we had a Wolves FC goal, the score of that match. Villita FC 5, Wolves FC 3. Remember, fans, on field 3, the
It looks like we do have a yellow card.
first team to 6 wins.
It's worth mentioning, if you get a red, you not only are immediately out, but just like World Cup scenarios and tournament scenarios, you sit out the next game. League scenarios, all the scenarios. Some of these teams have the full 18 complement. Some of them only have 11 or 12, so
We are tied
really
1-1
teams with
at
depth
halftime.
is important. Coming up, by the way, on field 3, approximately 10:45 or thereabouts, will be Club Necaxa, one of the legendary clubs out of La Liga, Mexico. They'll take on SLC FC, and you can continue to watch the ticker at the bottom. Follow it all the way over to the right-hand side to get the time. All Eastern time starts. Hoosier Army, they may have wrapped that game up. We'll see if Ann Hanna or if our Indiana has beaten Dortmund out of Germany 5-2, so the Hoosier Army getting it done. As I mentioned, they played a lot of games here at WakeMed. The COVID year, all the games essentially were played here or in other venues around North Carolina, but the majority of them were played right here at Wake Med Soccer Park, including the final, Indiana and Marshall. And then Indiana was back here last December, playing in their 17th national championship game and a heartbreaking loss to Syracuse. They just celebrated 50 years of soccer, did Indiana. Here in this one, with the target score at 6, Villita. It was 5-2 when we started target score time, and we will go until we get to 6. Good job by the Wolves stepping up, stepping in, as they now get it over to Adeline Ghidora, another big-time name that's part of this team with big-time experience. Part of the Algerian national team. I told you a little bit about him before, and he's on it there and makes a brilliant pass. Taken away, though, by Villita as they read it perfectly, and taken right back by Ghidora. Clark has it ripped by Villita, and you can see now this is for real. $1 million on the line, and we wondered about some of the tension, particularly with the target score part of this game, that I will tell you on the call, I mean, to have the leaders of TBT, particularly Dan Friel, really get fired up about the difference in this tournament with the target score, got all of us as broadcasters pretty fired up, as that shot from distance had a little bit of eyes, but just a little bit too high, as we've seen Cardenas rip some really good goals. We've also seen Charlie Gonzalez rip some pretty good goals. And as I mentioned, John Mugar, one of the founders with Dan Friel of TBT, and now a key part of being behind TST, told me before the game that it is ostensibly sold out. And you're starting to feel that already this morning, where the crowds are good, even on these auxiliary fields. We are right next to the main stadium where the North Carolina Courage, a perennial power in the NWSL, and North Carolina FC in USL League One play, it also just hosted. There's another chance for the fourth goal for the Wolves. It just hosted, this venue did the NCAA Division I Women's Lacrosse Championship, where on Sunday, just a few days ago, the Northwestern Wildcats won their 8th national championship. I say that just to give you an idea of how this venue is perfect for almost any scenario, and really set up well for hosting the TST. Good ball across. Give the Wolves credit. The legendary program has come out with a decent game plan here, trying to protect that target score. They've got a wall in front of the goal. They're willing to concede a little bit. There's a little back heel, not there, and then they're hoping to pounce. Look at that, West Ham and Far East United tied at 2. Kingdom FC, Newtown Pride FC. You've got Jeff Cameron's Blade and Grass FC and AJ De La Garza DMV Diplomats tied at 1. Indiana already in the clubhouse with 3 points as they got the win 5-2. I want to thank Jordan Franco on graphics, keeping us updated on everything that's happening here as part of the TST. We'll be here all night long. I mean, games will be starting tonight as late as 10 o'clock. Villita. They need to get to 6. They had no problem getting to 5. Is this it? It is! And Villita gets the 3 points, the target score in play, and the game-winning goal coming from number 29, Cesar Cerda. Cesar Cerda has given the win to Villita, the little village that could, the little village that would. As we're telling you, folks, this is a team to watch, no doubt about it. And congratulations to Cesar Cerda for getting the target score goal and getting Villita FC the win over the legendary program from England, the Wolves. as the final score is 6-3 here on Field 3.
And fans on Field 3, we have a goal for Villita FC. Villita FC wins the match 6-3.
All right, as fair play here with the handshakes, but the team primarily based out of San Diego with a sprinkle here or there from players elsewhere. Vegeta FC, the little village, knocking off the Wolves. Your final score, 6-3. For Ann Hanna, our producer, I'm Dean Linke saying congratulations to Villita FC as they get the target score win 6-3, and they get 3 important points. We'll be back for game 2 around 10:45 or so as Necaxa will take on SLC FC. Thanks for watching the TST.